for success. Now, we will see the analysis of this paper. How many questions? 30 questions. The first 10 questions deal with phrases. The next 5 questions deal with Parajumble. Phrases, we should get about 6 or 7, should not be a problem. Parajumble, tricky. If you are an intellectual, you know how writers present the information, perhaps you will get it right. Otherwise, not that easy. Passage, a familiar topic. What is it about? Caste. You all know about caste. You should get minimum 7, should not be a problem. And fillers, 2 or 3, easy, 1 or 2, difficult. Overall, you should get 20 plus. 20 plus, good. Between 15 and 20, acceptable. Okay. Now we'll see the questions. Shrikant. So, we will start with the first question. The first 10 questions, what do they deal with? Phrase replacement. So, what is the first sentence? The grim job market. Please underline the word grim. See, every sentence, when you read the sentence, first you try to understand the context. Ask yourself, is this about a positive aspect or a negative aspect? So, once you form an opinion, it becomes easy for you to select the right option. So, grim is positive or negative? Negative. Grim job market means what? Negative, not positive. So, grim job market has taken its toll on students. Many of those, so what is the given phrase? Many of those has hoped. This question has got 2 errors. Now, underline the subject of this particular clause. What is the subject? I want you to respond. What is? No. The grim job market has taken its toll on students. That is one clause. That clause is over. I am talking about the second clause. Second clause, what is the subject? Underline the word many. Many is a subject. Now, many has or many have? First, you correct that one. That could be a printing error. Many of those have hoped for a much better future. Now, you have to decide, many of those right or wrong. What do you think? Is it right or wrong? It is wrong. Mark it wrong. Now, we have to select one of the 4 options. Much of whom, not correct. Many of whom, this seems right, hold that one. Several of those, again not correct. Many of which goes with things and whom goes with persons. So, which is ruled out? Now, what is the answer? Second option, many of whom. See, I will not be able to write on the screen. Listen and make a note. When I say this option, tick that one. When I say underline, you underline. Don't expect I am using Word, not PDF, I can't write. Then you may get the doubt, already you have learnt, let me ask a question. What is the difference between who and whom? I will change the question. Who refers to subject or object? Subject. Whom refers to object. But here, please underline of whom as one unit. Below you write phrase. Many is a subject, of whom underline as one unit. Below you write phrase. It's a standard expression in English. So we use whom, not who. Write few more expressions, same pattern. Please write in your notebook. Some of whom. Some of whom. A few of whom. And write the next one, put a star mark. Some of them. We say them, not those. Some of them. Them also refers to the object, obviously, but it's a standard expression. So no second thoughts. What is the answer? The second option, many of whom, is the answer. Shall I move on to the next question? The relationship we have with our clients are the cornerstone. Please underline the word cornerstone. Cornerstone means important factor. Important stone, but in this context, what does it mean? Important factor. But cornerstone is singular or plural? Singular. Can we use are? That means the given phrase is right or wrong? Mark it wrong. Now we have to select one of the four. The relationship we have with our client are. First option, strike it off. Each client is. Seems right, hold that one. Our client is. Our client, the relationship we have with our client is. This also seems right, hold that one. What is the fourth option? Are, not correct. Now you have to decide between the second option and the third option. The relationship we have with each client is the cornerstone of our failure. Grammatically, this is right. There is no problem. But you cannot make a general statement like the relationship with each client has resulted in failure. That is not business. Any business, you have positive relationship with some clients, negative relationship with some other clients. You cannot say completely, your business could be the best business. Still you cannot say, I have a very good relationship with all my clients. That is a sweeping statement. Based on that, you cannot consider the second option. He is talking about perhaps, we don't know the context. Perhaps he is talking about a particular client. Then what is the third option here? The relationship we have with our client, the relationship we have with our client is the cornerstone of our failure. He is talking about one particular client. The relationship has resulted in the failure. That seems acceptable. So what is the answer based on that? The third option is the answer. Mind you, second option, grammatically there is no problem. Usage point of view, common sense point of view, it is a sweeping statement, not acceptable. So we cannot consider. Shall I move on to the next one? Many developed countries have been attempting. First you underline, have been attempting. Which tense is this? Please make a note, present perfect continuous tense. Have been attempting to do what? To buy agricultural land in other countries to meet their own demand. At the outset, do you feel uncomfortable? It seems perfect or some problem is there? How many of you think it looks perfect? One reading. So based on that, how many of you have selected the fifth option, no correction required? That is the right answer. The sentence is absolutely right. It is in present perfect continuous. They have been attempting. But we'll see the options. We'll take the elimination approach. What is the subject here? Many developed countries. Countries singular or plural? Then can you consider the first option? Strike off the word or underline the word has. Mark the first option wrong. Second option also you have has. Underline the word has. Mark it wrong. Are being attempting. Is it grammatically correct? It doesn't go with any tense or active voice or passive voice. Mark it wrong. Have been attempted. Many developed countries have been attempted. It goes to passive voice, but many countries, many developed countries have been attempted. It is not common sense point of view. It is not acceptable. So you cannot consider the fourth option. What do you say? Many developed countries have attempted, would have been better. Have been attempted is not correct. You cannot use this subject in passive voice because it does action. Any subject that does action, active voice. Any subject that receives action, passive voice. So what is the answer based on that? No correction required. A nuclear testing fills the air with radioactive dust and left the area uninhabitable. Now, how many clauses are here? Please respond. 2 clauses. What is the first clause? Please underline. A nuclear testing fills the air with radioactive dust. That is clause 1. And left the area uninhabitable. Second clause. The first clause, what is the verb? Underline the word fills. Which tense is that? Present tense. And the sentence talks about a fact. Second clause also you have to use which tense? Present tense. But the verb is in which form? Past form. So what is the correct expression? Leaves. The verb should be leaves. We'll see options. And leaves the area uninhabitable. This seems right at the outset. Also leaves. Additional information, we use the word also. Hold the second option. Leaving is not correct. Making is not correct. Here, do we have to use the word also? Not required. It talks about 2 ideas. One is what? A nuclear testing fills the air with radioactive dust and leaves the area uninhabitable. We don't have to use the emphatic word also. So based on that, what is the answer? First option is the answer. Please make a note. There is nothing wrong with the second option. We don't know the context. It is used for emphasis. Please underline the word also. Instead of also, they should have used besides. It would have been acceptable. Okay? Shall I move on to the next one? Yes or no? Yes. Please respond when I ask the question. What is the question number? 5. Modern ideas of government. What is the subject here? Underline the word ideas. Don't consider the adjectives. Modern is an adjective. What is the key word? Ideas. And underline of government as one unit. Below it you write phrase. Never consider phrases. Always consider the subject, the key word. Ideas, many modern ideas of government started back to the time. First, started back. Is it correct or wrong? Right or wrong? Mark it wrong. Then you have to select one of the 4 options. Started when to. Is it grammatically correct? No. We don't say started when to. Mark it wrong. Set back to. That is also not relevant in this context. Modern ideas of government set back to the time when people began to question kings. Not correct. Set back. Not correct. Start back to. Again, one more to is there. Is it grammatically correct? No. What is the 4th option here? Generally, a question like this, your grammar knowledge will not help. Your exposure to the language helps. A person like me or a person who reads a lot, when we see the options, we don't think of grammar. 1 second we know modern ideas of government. Of government we don't consider. Modern ideas date back. Excuse me. Modern ideas date back to the time. This seems quite perfect. So without any second thought, we know for sure the answer is what? The 4th option. How many of you have chosen the 4th option as your answer? Please raise your hands. This is really strange. Please excuse me. This is really strange. What is the reason? According to me, not as your master, not as the person who teaches English, if I have to consider myself a person who knows English, a typical convent educated boy or man who is reasonably good at English, then I would say an easy question. an easy question, but a lot of students could not get it right. What is the reason? Tell me. Someone says easy question, then a lot of students have to get it right, but that hasn't happened. Has it happened? No. Why? What is the reason? What could be the reason? Exposure to the language, lack of reading habit. Now, I really feel sorry when I see a lot of students not getting a question like this right. I feel sad rather. What is the reason? According to me, this is an easy question, and we expect the students to get it right. In the exam also, you get questions like this. You can't afford to miss questions like this. You can't afford to miss questions like this. What is the reason? These are easy questions. One reading, you should get it right. Imagine easy questions you don't get right. Can you get tough questions right? That is ruled out. Then what happens? Obviously, the scores come down drastically. That should not happen. And now on, I have been telling the same thing for the last 2 years, for the last 2 days as well. Now on, the papers are going to be like this, based on what? Usage, not based on grammar knowledge. This question is purely based on usage, exposure to the language. Usually it goes with archaeology. You know the subject archaeology. It dates back to so and so time. A typical expression, if you read the editorials, the newspaper, this is used quite often, because quite often they write about science and technology related articles. Do you agree or you don't agree? So whenever they discover something, they use the expression, it dates back to so and so time. A typical expression used in the newspaper. So please make a note, the answer is what? Fourth option, date back. This is a bit difficult. See, some questions are easy, some questions are difficult. When do I say difficult? First, assumption. The day you start preparing for bank exams, you have to tell yourself you have to read a lot, as simple as that. With the assumption you have been reading a lot, then in spite of that, I would say this is a tough question. What is the reason? For this question, you need a bit of grammar knowledge, and that grammar knowledge should be at your fingertips at the time of the exam. Otherwise, you cannot. Now, tell me at the outset, this sentence is related to what? Which aspect of English? Who has said that? Very good. It is related to conditional sentences. Then you should ask yourself, which conditional? How many conditionals are there? Overall 4, broadly 3. Present conditionals, 2 in number, open, hypothetical. Second or third rather, past conditional. What is the fourth one? 0 conditional. And each conditional you should know what tenses are used. And 0 conditional, what are the tenses used? Both the clauses we use present tense. With that assumption, we will see the sentence. Unless the government monitored the loan waiver scheme well, generally if you don't have to touch this part, the second clause should be in negative, not in affirmative. But do you see the second clause in negative form? That means what? The given expression is not correct. Imagine the sentence is like this: unless the government monitored the loan waiver scheme well, it is unlikely to be a success, or it is not likely to be a success. But do you see that? You don't see that. That means what? The given expression is right or wrong? Wrong. Now, for the government to monitor, that is not clear. Unless the government monitors, they have just changed the tense, so it is not correct. Though the government monitored, but the second clause is in which tense? Present tense. So here you cannot use the past verb. What is the fourth option? If the government monitors, which tense is that? Present tense. So the word if talks about conditional sentences. In English, how do we express a condition? We use the word if. So if the government monitors something, it is likely to be a success. If the government monitors, present tense, it is likely to be a success, present tense. So which conditional is this? Please write next to the question, 0 conditional. 0 conditional. How many of you have got this one right? That is really good. This will give you competitive edge. When you get answers, tough questions, that means what? You are better than thousands of students across the country. Then we say you have the competitive edge. On one hand, you should have this knowledge. On the other hand, you should have knowledge related to usage. Both are important, please remember. Hope you guys are listening carefully, because last 3 days I've been talking differently. You must have noticed the way I've been talking, not the typical explanation. I'm taking you people in a different direction. I'm trying to instill the idea. Proficiency is more important. Instill the idea. Proficiency as well as exposure to the language, very important from the selection point of view. On one hand, you should be very good at English grammar. On the other hand, you should get exposed to the language to the extent possible, extensively, a wide variety of contexts. Then you're ready for the exam. In that process, what happens when you expose yourself to the language, there are so many benefits. First benefit, you get in touch with the current affairs. You have how many marks for current affairs? 40 or 50? One advantage. Second, you become very good at comprehension skill. Comprehension means what? Understanding. You become good at comprehension skill. Third, in that process, you become good at vocabulary. You learn a lot of words. Fourth, you become a speed reader. Your speed also increases. What is the average speed? I've given many a time. How many words per minute? 200 words per minute. But exam point of view, 150 words ideal. When you read a lot, 6 months, every day, a variety of contexts, obviously your speed increases. Then you may reach 200 or 250 words per minute. And the fourth benefit, and nowadays especially, reasoning questions, I was told, they're very complicated and lengthy. Am I right? It helps there also, because if you're good at comprehension, if you are a speed reader, fast reader, you can save time over there. So many benefits are there. Okay. Now let us see the next question. What is the question number? The main objective of hiring this consultant is, please underline the word objective. The main objective of hiring this consultant, underline of hiring this consultant as one unit, write phrase. The main objective is what? Generally which preposition is used? Just tell the preposition, to. Now what is the preposition you see there? In. Is it right? So mark it wrong. The main objective is, generally we say to do something, to achieve something, to gain something. So first given option is wrong. Second option, no preposition, then it is wrong. The first option I mean. As not correct. To assess how. This seems right, hold that one. What is the fourth option? For assessing. Sometimes to assess or for assessing. But what is the word? For assessing that when. Is it grammatically correct? No. So what is the answer based on that? The third option. Always try to eliminate or ignore the phrases and clauses. Look at the key word, the subject. If the verb is important, consider the verb. Here, how you have to look at the sentence? The main objective is to. Of hiring this consultant, you should not consider. Do you understand what I say? You have to ignore that and read the sentence. Then you feel comfortable. The main objective is what? To do what? The main objective is to do something. Then you feel, oh, the preposition to has to be there. Then only one option, that is the answer. So what is the answer here? The third option is the answer, to assess how this data can be computerized. Please underline the designs finally ready as one unit. I see some students are not underlining. That also I don't like, frankly speaking. I'm not a dictator. Dictators, they insist, do what I say. But I also insist not with that intention. I insist because I know for sure if you make it a habit to underline the phrases and clauses, in the long run, it will help you. It will take you very close to the selection process. What is the intention? Why are you here? Why am I here? What is the main objective? To see that you get selected. And when I say please underline, why the hell should I say please? Still, I am trying to be very polite. I am requesting you people, please underline. I see a lot of students are least bothered. They are not underlining at all. That is not a good thing. If you are serious about selection, not a good thing. Whether you listen to what I say, that's secondary. I am not bothered. But every day you underline, then some awareness is created. Your mindset changes, your outlook changes, then you go to a higher level. That awareness will help you in the exam. Without underlining, when you read a sentence, internally, you know how to look at the sentence, where to focus, where not to focus. And you can get the error within no time. That is the main intention. So please underline the designs finally ready, one unit. This is one clause, because there is a conjunction after that. What is the conjunction? And. We shall submit them for approval tomorrow, another clause. But that is not important. Now, the given first clause is what? What is the difference between a phrase and a clause? A phrase, incomplete meaning, no verb. Clause, complete meaning, there is a verb. Now, in this clause, do you find a verb? The design is finally ready. Is there a verb? Then is it right or wrong? Mark it wrong. Now you have to see the option where you find appropriate verb. So what is the first option? Designs finally will be ready. Which tense is this? Future tense. They will be ready. Seems right? Hold that one. Designs are finally ready. Designs are finally ready. Which tense is this? Present tense. This also seems right? Hold that one. What is the third option? Final design, no verb. Designing finally, again, helping verb is not there. Now you have to decide between grammatically, one is right, two is right, but contextually, then read the sentence. The designs are finally ready. What is the second option? The designs are finally ready and we shall submit them for approval tomorrow. This seems logical. If the designs are ready, you are in a position to submit. Now, what is the first option? The designs finally will be ready, but it talks about future. But which one seems more practical? The second option. So, based on contextual awareness, not grammar knowledge, you have to go for the second option. What is the answer? The designs are finally ready. That means I have waited for a long time. So, we are in a position to submit. Clear? Fine. Question number 9. Most irrigation projects. What is the subject here? Underline the word projects. Most irrigation. Describing words, don't consider. Is it singular or plural? Plural. And the verb should be plural. Have is plural. Most irrigation projects have delayed. But here, you should quickly decide. Projects, they receive action or do action? Obviously, products, services, projects, they all receive action. When the subject is a receiver, you use active voice or passive voice? Louder. Passive voice. Now, have delayed, active voice or passive voice? Active voice. So, that means it is right or wrong? Mark it wrong. They have delayed, then it is right. They do action. But most irrigation projects, so at the outset when you read, you have to tell yourself, this sentence has to be in passive voice, but the given words, they are not in passive voice. You have to decide for sure. You should be damn sure about that. Now, we will see the options. Most irrigation projects have been delayed. Have been delayed, no problem. From lack of, does it sound right? No. Please round off the word from. That is a clue. Otherwise, it is acceptable. Most irrigation projects will be delayed for lack of adequate government. It seems right, hold that one. At the outset, Most irrigation projects were delaying. Were delaying again active voice, not passive voice, not correct. Mark it wrong. Most irrigation projects are delayed because of what? Lack of adequate government funds or something. The sentence is not complete. Now, what is the answer based on this? The sentence talks about what? You should always ask, does it talk about past action, present action, future action, or a fact? What does it talk about? A fact. Fact, which tense do you use? Present tense. So, what is the answer based on that? Most irrigation projects are delayed because of, again here please underline the preposition of. A lot of students come and ask me, sir, can we use the preposition of after because? They have this $1 million question. They ask this. Please write 2 sentences. First sentence, she came late. She came late because she missed the bus. She came late because she missed the bus. How many clauses are here? Underline the first clause. What is it? She came late. Then you underline because she missed the bus, one clause. Conjunction because. If you use a clause after the conjunction because, you should not use the preposition of. Now, we will see the second sentence. Please write one more sentence. She came late. I will use the same first clause. She came late because of the delay or because of rain. Please write appropriate. Because of heavy rain. Underline because of. Because of what? Rain. Which part of speech is it? Rain. It's a noun as well as a verb, but here it has been used as what? Noun. So, if you have to use a preposition of, then you have to use a noun. If you have to use a clause, you should not use a preposition of. I hope it's clear. So, here what is a noun? Because of what? Lack of adequate government funds. Now, let us move on. Shall I move on? The last one, many Indian companies, not India companies, please correct it. Many Indian companies import components from China as they are cheap compared to those manufactured locally. As they are cheap. Does it sound right or wrong? How many of you say right? How many of you say wrong? Why is it wrong? Why do you think? Compare, where is the word? Compared to. That comes after the expression. As they are cheap compared to those manufactured locally. Now, if you use these two, Indian products, Chinese products, you compare, then you have to use the word than. Do you see the word than? Because that word than is not there, then you cannot use, you don't have to use a comparative form. Imagine another construction. Chinese products are cheaper than Indian products. Look at this sentence. That student especially. Chinese products are cheaper than Indian products. Here direct comparison. So, we have used the word than and a comparative form. What is the comparative form? Cheaper. But here, it's a separate expression. They are cheap. It stops there. They are cheap compared to what? Compared to Chinese products. Compared to what? Then you get the answer, the noun. It's not comparison, not the typical comparison. So, you don't have to use the comparative form. That was your doubt. I hope it's clear. Now, we will see whether at the outset, those who said right, that is right. The answer is the fifth option, no correction required. We will check the options. As they are cheap as, that is not correct, because it is cheaper. But here it talks about companies. Many Indian companies import components. Components singular or plural? plural. So, is not correct. Since these are cheaper, cheaper compared to. Here this is a problem. You think if the word than is not, do you see the word than? Then you cannot use a comparative form. You have to use a positive form. And what is the last option? Which is cheap? That is not correct. So, what is the answer then? Fifth option, no correction required. I feel all these questions, except one or two, are rather easy. Who has got 8 plus? Wow, that's really good. I appreciate all those students. It doesn't mean that others should get discouraged or others should get demotivated. 8 plus is at the national level, very good. We always look at the highest possible scores, and only a few get. Like morning, one girl said she got 37.5 out of 40. I myself was shocked. Raghu sir was shocked. Who was there morning, this room? How many of you were here? I didn't know that. I was really surprised. Out of 30, 27, 28, to some extent, it is also difficult, but to some extent feasible. But the number increases, 30 becomes 40, then very difficult. Out of 40, English getting 37.5, not in the wildest dreams. People don't dare to dream also, but it has become a reality. And that girl is really good at English. That's a different thing. Now, shall we see the Parajumble? Say yes or no. Are you guys here? Now, what is this about? This is a bit difficult, comprehension based purely. First, we will take elimination approach. Don't consider the first sentence, don't consider A. Can you take B as the first sentence? Say yes or no. Why? Underline as a result. Can you consider C as the first sentence? Why? Underline the word they. Pronoun you cannot start. D, can you consider? Why? Please underline in turn. Add on information. E, again you cannot consider. What is the reason? They, pronoun is there. F, no. Why? These, demonstrative adjective or demonstrative pronoun. That means what? What is the first sentence? Please make a note. A is the first sentence. Now, what is this sentence? The application of economic, environmental, and consumer pressures have been on an increase in recent years. A clear statement. The pressures have been on an increase in recent years. When there is a lot of pressure, positive pressure, not negative pressure, usually what happens? Imagine the students are not, they are at, we have 3 levels, A, B, C. The lowest is C, the highest is A. If I am teaching C level students, I will not be excited, I will not find it challenging, I will teach very casually. Are you listening? If I am teaching B level, I will be a little attentive. And if I am teaching A level students, I will be on my tenterhooks. That means I will be very attentive, or I will be on my toes. I will be very attentive. I will consider that a challenging job, because some of them may ask questions, and some of those questions may be challenging for me also. So, generally what happens when there is positive pressure, your standards go up. You are forced to do something that is positive. You are forced to improve your standards, raise your standards. Here the context is like that. Now, based on that, what should be the second sentence? You tell me. Which one? Very good. Please, all of you go to F is the second sentence. So, what is the impact of these different pressures? Please underline the clue for you. These means what? All those pressures. These have greatly influenced the development of the agriculture and food industries in our country. As I said, Parajumble always 2 ideas or 3 ideas, 2 ideas or 3 ideas. If 2 ideas, 3 sentences each idea, 3 ideas, 2 sentences each idea. And generally you have to go for pairing, related words, Same words are used. Now, you have to look for the clue. Tell me what is the clue for you for the next sentence. In this sentence, what is the word? Please underline the word development. Development is a clue for you. In F, please underline the word development. Now, where do you see another development? D, what is the sentence? In turn, the support industries have developed to an equally advanced state. Again, underline the word developed. So, these two, one pair. Now, what is the next one? The writer wants to, usually writers, they make a statement, one pattern, statement, example. Another pattern, statement, substantiating. Another pattern, statement, contrasting information. Another pattern, statement, add-on information, additional information. How do they do that? What are the link words? Besides, in addition, also. So, where do you find the word also? E. So, what is the next sentence? E is the next sentence. Hope you are making a note. I cannot write here. What is the first sentence? A is the first sentence. What is the second sentence? F. What is the third sentence? D. What is the fourth sentence? E. Now, what is the clue? They have also equipped themselves with the necessary expertise. Please underline the word expertise. To satisfy the most exacting requirements of the overseas markets. Now, what is the next sentence? What is the reason? Where is the same word, expertise? You find it in C. They are thus able to provide expertise and technology, underline the word expertise, to satisfy the needs of agro-food production. So, C is the fifth sentence. Am I right? Now, you are left with what? You still have two. One or two? Only one. Which one is that? As a result, so overall, he's summing up. As a result, our agro-food production and technology are amongst the most advanced in the world. That is the last sentence. How many of you have got this one right? Please raise your hands. Very good. I appreciate those students. But others, not that easy. Very simple, all of you. Please don't look at me like that. All of you remember, I'm also worried. You are worried, I'm also worried. Because as a faculty, my responsibility to make sure that a lot of students get selected. Otherwise, why should I be here? I'm not doing as a show. I'm not doing mechanically. When I come all the way, I want to enrich your knowledge. My main intention, you should get selected. How much knowledge you have doesn't matter. Finally, what is the bottom line? Have you got selected or have you not got selected? Answer, selected, then everything is positive. Master is good, institute is good, everything is positive. Not selected, no, waste. So, always look at the result. So, don't look at me like that. Everyone is worried, but we should always remember, whenever there is a problem, human nature, we start worrying and we don't go to the next level. We spend a lot of time worrying. That is not the solution. First, you have to worry 1 or 2 days, not 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 days worry. What is happening? I'm not improving my score. Always single digit. And not someone gets 37.5. I'm not getting 3 plus 7, 10 also. What is the problem? Then you have to look at it very seriously, objectively. Two types of analysis, subjective analysis, objective analysis. Subjective analysis, personal, that will not help. Objective analysis, look at each dimension. Ask yourself, am I good at English grammar? And cross-check. Don't simply make a statement, I'm very good. You have to cross-check, you should have some evidence. Then, am I good at comprehension? Do I have a lot of words? Can I comprehend passages like related to exports, related to polity, related to some bank in Spain? Ask questions, you get yes. Then look at the reasons, try to look at the weaknesses. Once you find the weaknesses, then you should start working on your weakness or weaknesses. There is a saying in English, generally we worry about the weakness, we don't do anything. But when we know our weakness, we work, we put in a lot of effort, then we become very good at that particular aspect. Weakness becomes the strongest point. Do you understand what I say? Your weakness, when you put in a lot of effort, it becomes your strongest point. That's why there is a saying, what is it? The weakest link can become the strongest link if you put in a lot of effort. The weakest link becomes the strongest link if you put in a lot of effort. So that's what you have to do. Worrying, nothing will happen. So don't worry, we'll move on. Shall I or? Yes. This part is over. Fine. What is the next one? The most dreaded. What is the passage about? How many of you have read the passage? Sure. Yes, sir. For sure. Very good. What is this about? So what is the main objective? Why has the writer written this passage? What does he talk about in the passage? He talks about the problems related to untouchability based on caste system, the problems related to the inclusive growth, social inclusion, inclusive growth, economic, political, social, cultural. Then he talks about, he gives a few suggestions. He mentions a positive effort, a few positive efforts. He gives his own suggestions. Overall, this is a broad framework. And he differentiates this caste discrimination not only in villages and not only with a few people, it is with educated people as well. It is in cities as well. He talks about the geographical aspect. He talks about the intellectual aspect. Two areas he has touched. So with this, we'll see. First, try to write these questions. I think something is missing, but analysis. When you read the passage, first you write about what? Caste system. Number of words, 345. Nowadays, they are giving 1,000-word passages, 800-word passages. You know that? 2017 RRB PO, they gave 1,200-word passage from the Economist magazine article, recession in the US. First, candidates don't know, many candidates don't know the meaning of the word recession. And we are not good at Indian economy. Forget about the US economy. And the passage is all about the US economy, recession, very difficult to handle. But 345 words, easy. Time required. Imagine your speed is 125 words per minute. Then how long does it take? About 3 minutes. And don't tell me you haven't read the passage. Sir, we haven't had 3 minutes time, not acceptable. Level, easy. Easy passage. Why is it easy? You all know about caste. Every sentence you can comprehend. If the same passage is read by a typical Britisher, a typical American, they will not be able to comprehend. What is the reason? They are not aware of our social structure. They are not aware of our traditions. But we all know every sentence is familiar, easy to understand. So level is what? Easy. Easy questions, 3 questions. Rather 5, but still 16, 17, 18. I added 19 and 25 also. Then C means comprehension related. Easy questions, no, 5 questions are there comprehension related. Of those, 3 are easy. And vocabulary related, 4 questions. And they are depend, if you read the passage, they are easy. You don't read the passage, then you cannot comprehend. They are difficult that way. If you want to look at the words and guess the answer, not possible. Many of these questions. Then possible score, 7. 7 minimum you should get. And enrichment, I have been telling you people, you should always look at every mock test a source of information. Every mock test, you can learn a lot from the passage, from the clause, from the words, and grammar related questions, 1 or 2. So in this passage, about 25 words you can learn. 25. How many? 25. And 2 phrases. You should always look at, from this passage, what else can I learn? How to broaden my scope? And that will help you in the descriptive paper, interview, group discussion. So caste system, what are the related topics? Reservations, economic equality, social inclusion, tradition versus modernity. Please make a note. Related topics. Reservations, very important. Economic equality, this is also very important. We always talk about social inclusion, SCs, STs, social inclusion, backward communities, tradition versus modernity. When you look at, see, there are two levels of looking at the mock test, two levels of looking at the passage. Typical across the country, 90%, they read the passage, let us assume they have read the passage, they see the questions, answers, they stop there. That is, in my opinion, not useful. But second level or the second group, they introspect, they analyze, what else can we learn from this passage? How does it help in the long run? When they think that way, they come across all these concepts. They'll make a note. This is related to, based on this, I have to gather information related to these topics. And they read or make notes. Imagine you have to write an essay on reservations. If you have not done anything, can you write an effective essay? But today you have got, they have given a good passage, useful passage. And after the session, you go back, you gather information, and you read, at least in brief, a few topics or essays related to reservations or economic equality. At least you're in a position to say something about this topic or write something about this topic. Which one is better? Obviously, you have to go to the next level. Now we'll see the meanings of words. First you write festering. From the passage, then we'll go to the questions. Please be prepared to write. First you underline the word festering. Listen to me, it has got many meanings. A typical meaning, if you take a wound, you know the word wound. You don't take medicine, after you neglect. After some time what happens? Pus formation takes place. You see pus, that is also called festering, one meaning, related to wounds. It doesn't go with this context. Second meaning, festering means something that goes from bad to worse. A problem is there, it's a bad problem. From bad it goes to worse, another meaning. Third meaning, a problem that is difficult to solve, a problem that is difficult to handle or tackle. When you are chained, can you free yourself? You are completely chained, can you free yourself? No. It is a situation where it's very difficult to come out of that. So, in this context, please write the meaning, chains or shackles. First you write those two words, festering, chains or shackles. Also write a perpetual problem, perpetual. Perpetual means what? Everlasting, going on forever. Don't expect me to write, I cannot write. Perpetual, P-E-R-P-E-T-U-A-L, perpetual problem. Then what is the next word? Please write the word affluent. One of the meanings that goes with this context, wealthy or rich or prosperous. And write the combination, affluent people, one combination, affluent people, another combination, affluent societies, another combination, affluent countries, rich countries or affluent countries, both mean the same. Please underline this phrase, against this backdrop. Against this backdrop means what? Against this background, against this situation. And make a note, phrase, that's an important phrase. Then underline the word oppression. Oppress means what? prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment. You can also write suppress or exercise of authority. Oppression means prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment, or exercise of authority, unjust exercise of authority. Have you written? Victimizing. Victimizing means what? Single out for cruel or unjust treatment. She has been victimized. He has been victimized. Means what? They have been singled out for unjust treatment. Single out. Are the words clear? Single out for cruel or unjust treatment. Prevalent. Underline the word prevalent. Prevalent means what? Widespread in a particular area or at a particular time. Prevalent practices, prevalent diseases. These are the typical expressions. Prevalent diseases, write the combination. Prevalent practices, widespread practices. Please write, underline the word carcasses, dead bodies, that's right. The dead body of an animal. What is the word? Singular carcass, the dead body of an animal. I think already I've got the word discrimination. Discriminate means what? Prejudice, biased, to treat differently. Discriminate on the basis of race, on the basis of gender. It has a negative connotation. Atrocities. Atrocities means what? So, discrimination means what? Prejudice or bias. Atrocities, an extremely wicked or cruel act. An extremely, please don't look at the arrow marks. When we change the software, I think the position has changed. Atrocity means what? An extremely wicked or cruel act. Empowered. Empower means what? Make stronger and make more confident. Make stronger and make more confident, especially in controlling their life and claiming their rights. You all must be knowing the word empower. Women empowerment. You may get as an essay, important topic. Feudalism, I don't think you can understand. Feudalistic societies, during the medieval times, we had feudalistic societies. Means what? Knighthood, landlord, then slaves, hierarchy. So feudal lord, those who work under the feudal lords, like slaves, no rights at all. That is known as feudalism. Today also, if you go to some villages, you have this feudalistic attitude and feudalistic practices. They don't allow other community people to take up certain jobs. You all must be knowing that. And some people feel, imagine there is a barber or a cobbler and a person who belongs to upper class or upper class society, upper caste, he doesn't want that fellow to become an IAS officer. He will not accept. His ego doesn't accept. That fellow is a cobbler's son. How can he become an IAS officer? He cannot digest that. That attitude is called feudalistic attitude. I think sometime back you people got one, you must have seen the movie Kanche. There they show about that feudalistic attitude. Now can you relate? Fine. Now what is the next word? Please underline atmosphere conducive to. That's a very useful expression. Atmosphere conducive to means what? Positive. Making all group, no, I have not brought the meaning, write the meaning. Atmosphere conducive to means positive, helpful, positive to social inclusion. Atmosphere conducive to means atmosphere positive to something. Then social inclusion means what? Making all groups of people within a society feel valued and important. You give importance to making all groups of people within a society feel valued and important. That is an important expression. Always when you write an essay, try to use the words like inclusive growth, egalitarian society. Egalitarian society means what? All are equal. Equal importance is given to all groups. So these words are very important. Now we will see the questions. But Mohan, please excuse me for a minute. After this, you have quant explanation, I suppose. So what is the first question? Which of the following statements is or are true according to the passage? SCs and STs are denied to enter in temples. Right or wrong? True? Please tick that one. Modern and educated persons are against job reservation. This is a bit difficult to make out, but in the second or third sentence, the same wording has not been used, but in one sentence, the idea has been conveyed. Now, how many of you think this is right? Raise your hands. It is right, but you don't think so. Tell me why. No, please read the second sentence. All of you go to the passage. Many people, I'm reading out the second sentence. Many people, especially those opposed to job reservations, seem to argue otherwise. But caste cannot be wished away, even in modern, educated, middle class and affluent sections of the society. This is all one sentence. So what does the sentence mean? Even among those who are highly qualified, affluent, they are against the reservation policy. The idea is the same. Now what is the second option? Modern and educated persons are against job reservation. Both mean the same. That means what? One is right, two is right. What is the third one? Indian population practices untouchability at public places only. He talks about public places as well as other areas that they have been mentioned clearly. So what is the answer based on that? Which option says that? Third option, but printing error 1 and 2. What can be the suitable title of the above passage? The writer talks about inclusive growth. He appreciates the government's economic policies, but he also talks about, he appreciates social efforts of social reformers. Then he talks about one more area, and finally he says it should be all-inclusive approach, holistic approach. Now based on that, we'll see the title. Social reforms are needed. That's only one dimension, not correct. Law alone won't empower SCs and STs, only one dimension, not correct. Economic upliftment for Dalits from the government side, but he says it is not adequate. This is also one dimension, not correct. Untouchability, a major concern. This is also not correct. So what is the answer based on that? We'll see the first option. Social reforms are needed. Can it be the title? Law alone won't empower SCs and STs. This seems right, only one dimension. Economic upliftment for Dalits, but already the government has been doing that. Untouchability, a major concern. What is the fourth option? It is a general statement. The passage is about what? Passage is about what? Is it about untouchability or not? How do you decide what the passage is about? You have to decide based on the first paragraph or the last paragraph. Then we'll see the first few sentences. Caste in India is an enduring reality, a festering problem that refuses to go away. Not very clear regarding to the title. Many people, especially those opposed to job reservations, seem to argue otherwise, but caste cannot be wished away even in modern, educated, middle class and affluent sections of the society. Now he says the third sentence talks about what? The key idea, what is it? Untouchability. Then he moves on. The writer wants to highlight which dimension? Not about the caste. Which dimension? Based on the caste, untouchability. So based on that, what could be the answer? The fourth option. So what is the answer? Untouchability, a major concern. But not quite convincing. Okay. I think I can spend only 5 or 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Okay. We'll do it a little fast. The other faculty has come already. What can be the conclusion of the passage? Is it question number 18? What can be the conclusion? Underline the word conclusion. One, economic upliftment will be helpful to empower SCs and STs. Dalits should be included in social reforms for country. Social inclusion and economic development both are needed for the upliftment of SC and ST persons. Now what is the answer? Which one? Third option. What is the third option? Social inclusion and economic development. Both are required. One is social inclusion, the second is economic development. So please mark the third option is right. The second option is not correct. What is the reason? We need social reforms. It doesn't mean that we have to include Dalits in social reforms. Question number 19, which of the following statements is or are not true? SC and ST persons are allowed to enter health institutions. True. They are allowed or not allowed? That means it is not true. Hold that one. What is this? Laws will be effective only when victims are empowered to take actions. But this is not very clear. The passage, there is one sentence related to this in the passage, but one word is missing. What is the word that is missing? Take which action? Legal action. That is very important. Perhaps it is understood. That means, is it true or not true? Laws will be effective only when victims are empowered to take actions. Let us assume, take legal actions, then it is true. So first one is not true, second one is true. What is the third one? Educated persons are opposed to untouchability. Is it true or not true? Then what is the answer? 1 and 3. Which option says that? The third option is the answer. Now sentence number, why does it come? Is it 20? 20 to 21, only 2, similar meaning. Now these are very difficult if you don't read the passage. Now what is the first word here? Affirmative. What is the context? Affirmative action. Affirmative action, namely job reservations and a clutch of welfare schemes. Does it sound positive or negative? Affirmative action, namely job reservations and a clutch of welfare schemes. Positive or negative? Positive, obviously. Now, similar meaning, affirmative, positive, severe, negative, mark it wrong. Related, not relevant. Assenting, hold that one. Firm, not related to positive. Reformed, seems positive, it's a positive word. But here, affirmative means what? First you write the meaning of affirmative. Affirmative means positive. One is positive. Second, agreed, to agree. To agree. When you say yes, what do we say? It is an affirmation. Affirmation, write the noun form, affirmation. Affirmation means positive. Saying yes. Write the opposite word, negation. Negation means saying no. Affirmation, negation. Now, you may not know the meaning of the word assent. Please write the meaning. Assent means approve or to agree. Approve or to agree. Now, based on that, what is the answer? Third option is the answer. Affirmative means what? Assenting. That's a bit difficult. Next one is really tricky. Atrocities. Already I've got the meaning. Atrocities means what? Cruel acts. Now here, harsh is a negative word. Seems right. Hold that one. Vulnerable. But that doesn't talk about actions. Situation. Vulnerable situation. Strive, positive word. Remove that one. Don't consider. Pleasantry, positive word. Don't consider. Why is it tricky? In fact, I don't hesitate to admit, last time when I did this paper, I gave the answer harsh. I did not cross-check the word enormity. I said enormity is not correct because enormous means what? Huge. But one of the students, while I was going out, she said, sir, there's one more meaning she showed. Enormity also means a very bad act or something like a crime against someone, a bad act against someone. Then what does it mean? Atrocity also means the same, a cruel or violent act. Enormity, primary meaning, huge in size. What is the secondary meaning? Cruel act. Please write the meaning. Enormity, cruel act or sinful act. Write the word sinful, S-I-N-F-U-L, sinful act. Now, based on that, what is the answer? The fifth option is the answer, not the first one. Atrocities, singular, enormity, means sinful act. What is the next one? Festering. I am not convinced with this. The key says which option? The fourth option, erupt. But the answer, I said festering, one of the problems, one of the meanings, perpetual, forever. It will not disappear. Context also says what? Caste is ingrained in our blood. It is so difficult to remove from our mindset, the society also. So what is the answer based on that? The fifth option, eternal. Very good. Now, opposite in meaning. What is the first word? Enduring. Enduring means what? Withstanding, surviving, being strong, facing the problems, and existing, continue for a long time against the hardships. Enduring, endurance. Endurance means what? You face a lot of problems. In spite of all those problems, you don't get demotivated. You don't get disappointed. You try, and you go ahead, move ahead. Endurance. You need a lot of endurance when you want to achieve success. Endurance is required. Now, what is the opposite word? Abiding, legal term, not relevant here. Permanent, similar meaning. Omnipresent, everywhere, not relevant. Repeated, not relevant. What is the answer? Decaying. First option is the answer. Clutch. This also I am not convinced. I cross-checked. But in this context, clutch of welfare schemes means what? A lot of a cluster, a lot of welfare schemes. But welfare schemes positive. That is quite obvious. Now, connection, not related. Misconception, is it a positive word or a negative word? Negative. And misconception, something not properly understood. Ensure, a positive word. Coupling, neutral word but not related. Giving, again not related. Only one negative word. Here the context is positive. You have to choose a negative word. Which word is that? Misconception. So, answer is what? The second option is the answer. The typical meaning of clutch, grasp something, hold something, clutch. Enduring means what? Lasting over a period of time, durable, against all odds. How many questions do we still have? Only 5 questions? The next one also related to the passage. What steps have been taken to end the untouchability in Indian society? 1. Amendment bills have been passed. Right or wrong? Yes. Social reform movements have been initiated. Yes. Religious leaders are creating conducive environment. Is it right? No. Second option mentioned in the passage but not directly. In one sentence he talks about already social reforms are there. That means what? They have been initiated. You have to deduct. So, based on that, what is the answer? Fourth option is what? 1 and 2. That is the answer. Now, already it is, what time is it? We'll stop here. It's not fair on my part. I'm supposed to stop at 3:15. The faculty has been waiting. It's already 3:25. So, the remaining questions, the key is right. You don't have to worry. But any doubts you ask me tomorrow. Fillers and close. Am I right? Or only fillers? Only fillers. We'll finish it off one minute. What is the answer for the first one, 26? Answer is the second option. The Indian diamond processing industry took roots in the 1960s. Sentence number 27. Any trade carried out without the participation of the clearing corporation, and the second word is what? Without the intervention of whatever it is. Now 28. The origins of the second option, urban cooperative banking movement in India can be traced. What is the next one? Here he talks about water bodies. Which option has water body? The third option, what is it? Lakes and evaporate. So, what is the answer? Third option is the answer. And the last one, nursery business is highly seasonal, concentrated in the winters and monsoon.